Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Great day today, for me at least, because I always shine when I'm challenged. So I've been challenged and today I will respond. Not here, in private life. So what do we have here? We have here a moment where the Russians have to prove that they're consistent. If you draw a red line or a line in the sand or and someone crosses it, then you have to do what you said you're gonna do. Otherwise you're gonna be ridiculous. And that is, NATO crossed the Rubicon, I would say again, which is not good for the Russians, which is the Ukrainians used ATACMS to hit a Russian airfield inside Russian territory. Now, as far as I remember, and the videos I covered regarding this subject, the Russians said they will retaliate badly and they will strike according to them, the troops involved and the countries involved in supporting the Ukrainians in doing this. According to Putin, ATACMS could not be used without the American personnel and intelligence and all that. Therefore, you're actively at war with us and we will strike you. So, it happened yesterday, and the Russians come now with a solution. Let's see what the solution is. This is the first topic. I'm going to show you the map where this airfield was struck. Then we find out that somehow we don't know, it's irrational why some people would just align themselves with the evil, and that is probably because they're evil, all of them. Remember, we are supposed to believe here that people in the past that a certain group does not like, let's say, hates actually, they portray certain, people as being all evil, and there's no justification when someone, aligns himself with that person or anything like that. For example, the SS Waffen. Remember SS Waffen in the Second World War? Bad people, but somehow there were SS Waffen foreigners. So there were SS groups formed with Romanians, American citizens, British citizens, people who just wanted to fight for that evil person. They were all evil. They were all evil. So we have the same thing here in Russia now, where we have Kevin Johnson, a US boxer. He fights for Putin's Russia. He must be evil by default. Now, the next one. Mr. Scholz wants to talk to Putin again, and Mr. Zelensky does not like that a bit. So he says no justification for German stance. So, all right, well, what can you do? Talk to mommy and daddy? We have here bad news for Ukraine, and that is the US defense budget for 2025 includes no extension of Lend-Lease for Ukraine. Oy vey. That means they're kind of in shitty situation. And the last topic, Ukraine will the West will betray Ukraine. This is according to Mr. Robert Fico, who is the Prime Minister of Slovakia. And he says exactly what I said so many times, because we are with and so on. He's going to say the same thing. It's going to be business as usual. They're going to sacrifice Ukraine. Nice try. Let's try now the Poles, see how they react, and if it doesn't work, then the Americans and the Russians will cooperate, business as usual. Remember, United States of America cooperated with Soviet Union during the Cold War a lot. Were you told about that? All right, let's start with the first topic. This comes from Russia Today. This is from yesterday, the 11th of December 2024. Ukraine strike Russia with US-made ATACMS missiles. So they made this US-made because, remember, the Russian says this could not be and are not, according to the Russians, used by the Ukrainians but by American military personnel. That's what they claim. Kiev has targeted a military airfield near the city of Taganrog, the defense minister in Moscow has said. Ukrainian forces fired a barrage of 6 US-made ATACMS missiles at a military airfield near the southern city of Taganrog on Wednesday. 2 of the missiles were shot down, while the other 4 were affected by electronic warfare measures and veered off course, the ministry said in a statement. The attack inflicted minor damage on the airfield, with 2 administrative buildings and a number of cars hit with shrapnel. I think they were hit, but hey, that's me. An unspecified number of Russian servicemen were injured in the attack by, and I'm only falling fragments of the missiles. I think they hit them. But anyway, that's my why. There's nothing perfect, all right, over there. I mean, except you. But it's just the same. The Ukrainians always destroy the missiles, the Russian missiles on Kiev, and the shrapnel just falls, the fragments, and I don't know, destroy the electricity for the city for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. So, and I'm quoting, the attack by Western long-range weapons will not go unanswered. An appropriate measure will be taken, said without providing further details. So, remember, here is a what? Picture of that, the little thing. So last month, the US authorized Ukraine to use American-supplied long-range missiles, including ATACMS, to strike targets in international recognized Russian territory. The White House previously restricted, like with everything else, to use these weapons by Kiev, citing concerns that the move would result in a major escalation with Moscow. Right here, Russian President Putin has warned that authorizing these strikes would drastically change the nature of conflict and would be tantamount to direct NATO involvement. All right, so it says here, in late November, Russia used the new Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile, for the first time, striking the Yuzmash military plant in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. At the time, Putin said the new weapon could be used in retaliation against the Kiev regime if Ukrainian attacks Russian and Western provided long-range missile continue, with the targets potentially including Ukrainian decision-making centers as well as military and industrial facilities. No, it was a little bit like we're going to hit the countries responsible with that. Go and watch my videos regarding that. But nevertheless, do you think the Russians will do? The Russians said that we're not going to use nukes. We're going to use the Oreshnik ICBMs, but with such a capacity that, I don't know, using 5 of them would be like the detonation of a nuclear weapon, tactical nuclear weapon, which is lower. So it's going to be, it's all conventional, and it's not a weapon of mass destruction because it's just one missile. All right, whatever. That's what the Russians said. Do you think they will do it? Well, let's go to the next article. This comes from Sputnik. Ukraine's attack with ATACMS missiles on Russia's Taganrog airfield won't go unanswered. So, again, let's see if they got here, pop, 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 and I'm going to show you where that is. The same information here. 2 missiles were shot down, pop, 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 dip, and Kremlin warns of response. I'm waiting for it. It happened yesterday, following Ukrainian attack using US-made missiles. Let's see if they give us the same information. No. Okay, all right. Russian president said that the Ukrainian attacks deep inside Moscow continue. Moscow reserves the right to use our weapons against military facilities of those countries. Thank you very much. This is what I meant. To use our weapons against military facilities of those countries that allow the use of their weapons against our facilities. So against military facilities, let's say that's in, I don't know, Virginia. That's a military facility of the country, United States of America, that allows the Ukrainians to use weapons against our facilities. Got it? So I'm waiting to see what's going on. This is the Taganrog Air Base. And that's a lot of, these are just reconnaissance planes, seems to me. Not reconnaissance, spy planes, or maybe commercial. Seems like commercial to me, though. I was looking for, the radar. But this is the big airfield these guys hit, and it's another one in the south a little bit. Where are you, baby doll? Right here. And let's see what do we find there. Now this looks more likely, yeah, this is the military airfield. You see, this is a White Swan right here. This is the spy plane, how do you call it, intelligence plane that these guys hit. I don't know, like 220 or something like this. These are the 295s, the Bear, the strategic bombers. So this is what they hit. What do we have? What else we have? Just bombers, no fighter jets. And the other one was the probably, how do you call it? Public, whatever. Non-military airfield. Okay, so where is this located? So this is located right here. This used to be the border with Ukraine. Now that's not anymore. So this is obviously in Russia. This is the Crimean Peninsula. Let me show you on a different map though. So I'm going to show you a map where it's a little bit more clearer. It comes from the Russians. But 3, 2, 1, come on baby doll, here it is. So this is the map of Ukraine, and this was hit right here next to Rostov-on-Don. This is the location. This is Russia, and this was hit from somewhere here. Now let's go to analyze what do you think will happen. I think the Russians will hit Ukraine targets, and I don't think they will hit Poland or NATO countries. They will hit inside Ukraine. They will use the ICBM. I don't know exactly how many they have, but we'll find out. Someone said in an article that I read that the Russians will use, or they can produce 5 ICBMs, hypersonic ICBMs a week. I don't think so. I mean, I'm 100%, I don't think that's possible. So let's see how these people decide to join the bad people, because they're all bad people. And the mass media, the operatives here, they always paint people who join the dark side. Remember? It's bad. Like you have Steven Seagal, he's an idiot, right? Gerard Depardieu, the French actor, he's a molester. Alain Delon liked Putin, he was bad. And many others who went to Russia, they must be bad. Why? They give you these arguments. Sometimes they give you all kind of alleged this, not convicted, alleged, which means someone said something. Right? Or they simply say, like they said with many other decisions from the Second World War, just irrational, man, just irrational. Very irrational in this kind of process and solution, very methodical. But in this one, we don't know. We don't know. It's just irrational. It's like the same with the book that doesn't lie. It doesn't make sense. Oh, think of it metaphorically. Or he works in mysterious ways. You can't understand that. And you're like, okay, I will do that. No, I won't. All right, let's see what Scholz has to say about contacting Putin again. I think it's just for show. I don't think this guy has no power. There's no power in the foreign relations. The Americans can shut him down in a second if they want. Scholz says he's open to further talks with Putin. There's going to be elections, I think, in May next year in Germany. So he's trying to play a certain section of the population, saying, you see, I'm open, ceasefire. Why? Because the alternative for Deutschland, the bad dudes, the boogeyman, like the guys that I spoke before about, this guy is just, he has to bring that into discussion. So it shows that he's for peace. So again, Kevin Johnson, US boxer, I skipped this one, fighting for Putin's Russia. He's black. Wow, can't be. Can't be. I know it's another boxer who fled and got citizenship. All right, US heavyweight Kevin Johnson came close to the top of the boxing world before his star dimmed. Now he wants to relaunch his career from Russia, where he has become a cheerleader for President Vladimir Putin. Got it? So that means he's an idiot. That's what they say right here. Agence France Presse. Maria Panina. Okay, Maria Panina. Relations between West Papapap, the 45-year-old American from New Jersey, says he has found a recipe for success in his new home, where he was granted citizenship this year in a decree from Putin. It's all about the ingredients. Life is ingredients, he said. And the ingredients in Russia are abundant. They make a good recipe, he told Agence France Presse ahead of a highly publicized fight on Friday against mixed martial arts champion Vitaly Minakov. Remember, that's another guy. He's an MMA fighter. Whatever his name is, full of tattoos. He has a degree in sociology. I think he has a PhD actually. What is his name? I know his name. I don't know his right now. Tattooed. He fought Fedor Emelianenko at one point in Russia. He has he is over there, and he's again a cheerleader for the Putin's whatever. And he says here, I am Russian, and then right there, I am Russian, and then a decade of defeats. You got it? So they take a shot on this guy's life because he is with the evil, designated by that group as being evil. Right. So Scholz wants to talk to Putin. Of course he wants, but it's just political. I don't think political in a way that just a show off. When he's going to be told Putin go and clean your underwear, he's going to go and clean it. Next one. German Chancellor open to more dialogue with Russia's Putin. Correct. No justification for German stance on Ukraine in NATO, Kiev says. So this Zelensky, right? So they complain that Berlin's refusal to accept the country into the US-led military bloc. No justification. Let me give you one justification. You accept them. That means NATO is at war with Russia. Is that what those guys want? I think so. I give you one justification. The other one, why should I go and fight Russia for you? Second justification. Third one, maybe you should have just followed the Minsk agreements 1 and 2, 2014, 2015. Third justification. Can I give you more? Can I fucking give you more? These baboons. All right, let's go to the next one. So the Americans cut the line. I suspect there are certain kind of ways of going around this little line. Ukrainska Pravda. US defense budget for 2025 includes no extension of Lend-Lease for Ukraine. Ukraine ambassador to US. Don't worry, she will be, she's about to be replaced. Oh, she got nice Kichlimbar there. Kichlimbar. You like Kichlimbar? You know what it is? All right. If you don't know, just Google it. Oksana. Ukrainian ambassador to US has reported that the US House of Representatives has passed the 2025 defense budget, which does not include provisions for Lend-Lease for Ukraine. And this is what? $890 million. That's how the budget is. It says here anything? I looked over it. It's 890. I'm sorry, 890 some billion dollars. $1 million, Jesus Christ, $1 million. No Lend-Lease Act extension in the US, says Ukraine's ambassador. Let's see, says here anything? But believe me, if you don't go and check it out, I said it's about, again, I'm going to try again, $890 million. So what would that mean? They will already have ways to do it. It's just different programs. So, okay, there's not over there, but they will have something for emergency. Do you know, for instance, CIA's budget? I guarantee you not. You have the public budget, but the dark budget of the CIA, you will never know. And that's money that they don't really have to come back to the Congress and say, you know what, we used it for this, we used it for that. Why? We don't want to endanger our men, brave men and women out there in the harm's way. So we can't tell you because it's confidential, you know. Oh, who's here? All right, we know who's here. And let's go to the last topic, where Ballsy, Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, tells the truth, something I've been saying for some time. These guys are going to use the Ukrainian nation, not Zelensky. Zelensky Stein, Zmihal Stein, Reznikov Stein, Umerov, and Yermak Stein will be all fine. Remember the foreign minister, the Kuleba. You know where Kuleba is? Now they switched. He's another foreign minister. He works in the United States of America. He's a professor at the university. Who would know that? All right, so they're going to use the Ukrainian nation. They will lose, and then they will move on to another tribe, probably Poland, or maybe the Baltic states, the baboons in Romania. They try in Georgia. They try in Armenia. Second front is already open in Syria. The third one they try in Georgia, in the Caucasus. All right, Pravda. Ukraine will lose territory and won't be invited to join NATO. Slovakia's Prime Minister has said the country could lose up to a third of the land it held in 1991. And here, Slovakian, he said, has claimed that the West will betray Ukraine in the end by agreeing to the partitioning of the Eastern European country. He also opined that attempts to weaken Russia through economic sanctions have failed. I think they did. Why? They thought it's going to fail in a week. Russia will collapse. So it says here that the Russians are gaining more and more territory and the sanctions are not working, end quote, he argued. According to the official Ukraine, and I'm quoting, has allowed itself to be dragged into this adventure, and that cannot end well for the country. Fico claimed that Kiev will lose territory, possibly up to a third of its land, and will not be invited to NATO. Okay, it says here, the officials also predicted that some sort of security guarantees would be offered to Kiev, such as the presence of foreign troops. I don't believe that. That's not going to happen. It's going to be Russian troops. There's not going to be any foreign troops in Ukraine as Americans or NATO. It will be maybe more and very small contingent. He says that Bratislava, which is the capital of Slovakia, will oppose Ukraine's accession to the US-led military bloc, together with Germany, they said. He says that has nothing against Ukraine joining the EU, he said. Fico insisted that there can be no military solution to Ukraine conflict, and they need to negotiate. The Russians will impose, they will not negotiate. And he says it's unrealistic to expect Moscow to give up Crimea or the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics at this point. All right, and I assure you, he said, once the war is over, the same I would like to tell you, it will be business as usual. Everyone will go there, Russia. Everyone will want to buy and sell, the Slovakian Prime Minister said. I told you, I told you, I told you. Why? Because this is a business war. It's not a military war. I mean, it is a military war, but the interests are the guys that push the military action. So the origin is economic, financial. Big banks, what did I say? Big banks. Big banks, military-industrial complex, arms manufacturing companies, and the energy sector. And big energy companies that want Russia's Siberian wealth. That's what it is. And they use, as I said, the pimp bazaar. The world is a pimp bazaar. The pimps are the so-called leaders of the countries, right? The bazaar is when they deal, negotiate, sell and buy, as he said. They sell what? Ladies of the night. The ladies of the night are these pimps' nations or countries. And then the customers, the buyers are whom? Are the big interest. Banks, as I said, big economic financial interest. So yes, it's going to be business as usual. And then a country was destroyed, probably up to 1 million so far dead, injured, displaced, and so on. For what? For some financial ambitions. Do you know the names? Well, I guarantee you they know the names, but they are in someone's pocket. Why? Because, you have this kind of system, democratic system in the United States of America, for instance, and everywhere else, where you have the big business owning free media, campaigning, and then, doing what they do best. They push buttons. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Countries are just used for their interest. I have an interest, let's say, in that country. I speak with my politicians. Politicians go and put pressure on those guys. Those guys don't break. I start threatening them to the politicians. They know what to do. After all, I gave them the most money, right? Why do you think they gave money? Just because they like them? No, because those guys will implement our policies. So they will start threatening and then blackmailing and then regime change and then bombing. And after they bomb, we come in. And then we take over with the public military, not our private military. No. With the public, with your lives. That's what's going on right now in Ukraine with the Ukrainian nation. And in charge of the Ukrainian nation are some Ukrainians. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.